Hello everyone and welcome. In this video I'll explain how SoloDark works and introduce you to my characters. I'm actually quite excited to get started in the world of Shadowdark and develop my own little gaming universe. With SoloDark and any other solo game, I'm both the GM and a player. For this reason, there has to be an additional layer of randomization. Otherwise it'll get boring very quickly, as I just know the outcome. If you're unfamiliar with solo games, there is a distinct component called an oracle. In SoloDark, there are 3 outcomes: yes, no, and twist. So let's just say my character has entered a clearing. It's a dark, starry night. The air is clear, crisp and cold, but a deathly silence fills as void of nothingness, until there is a loud crash of a branch falling from a tree. If I were a player, or even a GM, I'd want to know if someone, or something, fell out of the tree. This is where the oracle comes in. Actually, let's just roll and see what we get. Okay, so I rolled a 17. Someone or something did fall out of a tree. So, as a GM, I want to know if it's an inanimate object or a living creature. Now I could ask the oracle a question again, but I want a more concrete answer. So I'm going to just roll a d6. Odd, it's an inanimate object. Even, it's a creature. I rolled 5, so odd, and it's an inanimate object. Now, while this is all going on, as a player, I'll be rolling perception checks to determine where the crash occurred and if there was any movement after it. Sorry, it's a bit of a long-winded explanation, but you get the gist. So, back to SoloDark. Because I backed the Kickstarter, I got sent some pre-generated characters that I'm actually going to use. I want to demonstrate that you can just pick up and play Shadowdark and SoloDark right away, which is why I'm going to use them instead of rolling up new ones. For now anyway. According to SoloDark, an ideal group size is 2 to 4 players. I'm going to choose 3, as I fancy the challenge. All of my characters are level 1, and I've got a mix of magic users and a thief. Let's begin with my first pick, Sneech the Goblin Priest. As we can see from his character card, he's an initiate, just started on his priesthood journey. His alignment is chaotic, which I love, and he's sadly orphaned. His deity is Ramlat. Now I'm going to look up who Ramlat is. So Ramlat is the pillager, the barbaric, the horde. Many orcs worship him and live by the blood rite, a prophecy that says only the strongest will survive a coming doom. Well, that's really heavy, but also quite cool. Okay, so I can quite easily come up with his motivation and backstory, but I don't want to do that. I want to leave a bit to chance, mainly because I want to wield as little influence over this character as possible. So I will do this with the character motivation table in the Mythic GM generator. I really like this book as there is so much in it you can apply to other creative endeavours. I'm actually tempted to use it in the novel I'm writing, to help me generate ideas when I get stuck. Anyway, before I go down a tangent, let's roll. Right, I got a 92, which is stop. Now this table works on a word pairing prompt, so I'll roll again to get my second prompt. And it's 31. Ooh, that's friend. Okay, so what can we make out of stop friend? Perhaps our goblin stopped having friends because he got used to surviving on his own. Maybe after he was orphaned, he moved around so much that he lost touch with everyone he met. But he realised something was missing from his life, so he became a priest, maybe to find a deeper meaning and purpose, even though that meaning is quite dark due to him believing some sort of blood rite will occur. Perhaps this has prompted him to take an adventure and look for some ancient artefact that he believes will protect him and his church from the coming doom. My next character is Thorin Gendry, a dwarf wizard. Unlike Sneech, he is lawful, not chaotic. Thorin is starting as an apprentice, his background is a scout, and his deity is Madeira. So let's look up Madeira and see what they're all about. Madeira was the first manifestation of law. She carries every law of reality, a dictate called the Covenant, written on her skin in precise symbols. Okay, so now I'm going to roll for Thorin's motivations. This could get quite interesting, considering that he is a scout. So I wonder what they could be scouting for. Also, he's quite the opposite of Sneech, making everything more chaotic and fun. So the first roll is 91, which is start, and the second roll is 30, which is free. Okay, so how can we turn this into a meaningful prompt? Start and free. Well, Thorin is an apprentice and lawful wizard. Perhaps to progress in their training, they need a component for a spell, but it's very expensive. And because they are lawful, they won't steal it. So they want this free component to start a spell. See what I did there? Admittedly, it's not very abstract, but who cares? Also, what if our 2 little characters are after the same artefact, or spell component in Thorin's case, and maybe they're keeping this a secret from each other? I'm unsure if I'm overly complicating this now, so I'll park that thought and revisit it later if it ever becomes relevant. So my third and final character is Elias the Exiled, an elf thief. What stands out about this character is that their backstory is banished. I do like a banished backstory, as there is so much potential. We could go down the wrongfully accused and framed route, or the I did wrong and need to make it up to everyone route. Before I let my imagination run away with me though, I'll return to their character card. Their deity is Gede. I'm just going to look them up now. So Gede is the god of feasts, mirth and the wilds. Gede is usually peaceful, but primal stores rage when her anger rises. Many elves and halflings worship her. Oh, and her alignment is also neutral. Good to know. So Thorin's title is Robber, but I'm curious and want to look up other titles to get an idea of how the thief class is broken down according to alignment. So we've already established an entry-level thief who is neutral is a robber. The chaotic equivalent is a thug, and a lawful type is a footpad. Right, so let's use the motivation table. The first roll gives me a 49, which is innocent. Now that is very intriguing. Let's see what the second roll brings. Oh, okay, we have a bit of an oxymoron situation here. Innocent and malice. What can I make out of that? Maybe they were banished, but they were innocent. There has been a bit of foreshadowing there already. Then with malice, perhaps they're seeking revenge. But against whom? And how will this character connect to the other two? Or will they just meet by happenstance? This actually could be something I work on with the Oracle in Shadowdark, or with the Mythic GM. To recap though, our three characters are Sneech the Goblin Priest, who is on a mission to retrieve an artifact for his church to protect them from the Blood Rite. Next, we have Thorin Gendry, a dwarf wizard who is after the same artifact, but wants to use it as a component in a spell to progress in his studies. Finally, we have Elias the Exiled, a halfling elf thief who was unjustly banished for something they didn't do, and now they are out for revenge. In my next video, I'll get on with the world they're living in and what I want them to explore. If you're thinking about starting your own Shadowdark game, I've made another video in which I give an overview of its rules and gameplay. In fact, that video inspired me to give SoloDark a go for Halloween. I do recommend checking Shadowdark out though. It's so easy to pick up and is a great introduction to tabletop role-playing games. Anyway, that's all for today folks, and I'll see you in the next one.